firstly, thanks for joining us with the delayed start to this session. We are recording this session. We'll send it out to everybody who will see who's attended today, so you get to watch it back at the end. We're going to have to speed through the first kind of 10-15 minutes. We'll change the order of the typical agenda. We've got Adrian with us today, who's one of our students. He's going to tell us about his experience. But Adrian, you've got to go back to work for 1:15, is it?
Yeah, if I can. Yeah, they kind of changed my lunch break today, which is a bit out of the blue, but that's life.
No problem. So what demands, eh? So we're gonna start with asking some questions to Adrian, understand his experience and his journey, and then we're going to talk about some of the careers and career pathways that we offer. We've got Robin over in Dublin on with us, who's a key part of our career services team, and then thanks for everyone that's sending questions as well. We'll get on to answering those towards the end. Just quickly, I'm John O, head of marketing here at Learning People. I won't go into a background because I want to meet Adrian. Now, one of the best parts of my job are running these sessions and getting to meet the students. Now, yes, obviously I market our products and our portfolio and our career pathways, so everyone knows what we offer. But for when we see at the end of that journey, and meet the students that have seen one of those ads, they've spoken to a career consultant, they've worked with career services, they've landed a job, sometimes within less than 12 months or quite regularly. It's extremely powerful. And Adrian was working as a chef, and he's come to us, and he's now working in IT support. So thanks for taking the time out today, Adrian. I guess maybe first off, you just tell us a bit about your career journey to date, and why did you decide to get into IT from, chefing is such a tough industry in terms of hours and demanding. It would be great to hear that story.
Well, the sort of the journey for me really started. I was a partner in a business up in London, one of the biggest caterers for corporate catering, and as directors, we'd kind of started to fall out a little bit, and it's becoming really hard work. And so I decided that I'd had enough of that particular business, and actually sold my shares. And then decided to take a little bit of a break, came back after about 2 weeks, started looking for a job, and then COVID hit. And then obviously any top-end job within the catering industry was completely taken away, and they're still not there. I've got friends that lost their jobs during COVID in the industry, and they've had to take jobs that are on about a third of their salary, what they were on. There's no high-level jobs going. Anyone that's in one has hung on to it for dear life and still are. So I then sort of thought, COVID's not going to be that long, and we'll be all right, and whatever. And then sort of 1 month after another month after another month, like I sort of like, what's going to be the end of this? So I decided to look into different courses, and it was really sort of the way the Learning People came across, and sort of the way that they presented themselves in the structure of learning and things like that really appealed to me. I've always had an interest in IT. We use it a lot in the catering industry. It's very heavily weighted with IT, so you do need to know, the basics for certain. But then, it really appealed to me. I got on really well with the girl that sold me the course, and the support that was offered during that, that's really what led me to sort of where I am, with the Learning People.
So how much did you know about the opportunities in the IT landscape before you contacted Learning People?
I knew a little bit.
Was it the fact that you had a conversation with your career consultant who kind of demystified the options for you, or did you know exactly what you wanted to do?
No, we talked through a few of the options and what sort of appealed to me. I mean, not knowing a massive amount about the IT industry, you just got to sort of feel which course sounds the most interesting and which is more up my street. to oppose to any of the others, really. And, you know, we had some quite long conversations before actually I committed to the course, that I actually enrolled on, just to make sure that I was happy, because obviously, you know, it's quite a bit of money, that I was sort of forking out at a time that maybe I didn't have to spare, because not having a job or anything like that. But yeah, no, I mean, they were very sort of helpful in going through in detail what all the different courses were about.
And you've got a, you know, a family to support as well, haven't you, Adrian, and transitioning from one job and then into learning. How did you manage the time to actually fulfill your studies?
Well, quite fortunately, sort of the first lockdown finished, and I got a lot of my studies done during the day when the kids weren't there. Almost treated, you know, just treated it as if I was going to work, and spending as many hours on the learning at that time as I, you know, as I would do if I was at work. And I actually got through both cores of the A+ quite quickly, and passed both exams fairly quickly, and yeah, it was that side of it. I purely committed, and now obviously I'm now working and trying to juggle the studying is a little bit tougher with the 4 kids. But yeah, you just got to try and push through that. Get up early, maybe do a bit later on when the kids are asleep and things like that.
So obviously there's a lot of, you know, self-discipline, you know, catering background, that's, you know, very disciplined industry as well, isn't it? It's hard working. So in terms of when you enrolled with us to actually land in your job now in IT support, how long has that taken?
That was around about 6 months. So I did the A+ within that 6 months, and I worked with you guys probably for about 3 or 4 weeks, getting my CV ready. I got approached by you guys to go for an interview with a firm that was quite local to me, and I think I got down to the last 2, and it was just down to no experience against a little bit of experience. But then about 2 weeks after that, another opportunity came my way, and managed to land that first job.
Massive congratulations. 6 months is really no time at all. And how much did you work with career services, and how did they support your journey into landing that job?
No, we were in, you know, we were emailing and phoning each other, you know, throughout that sort of period, and I was getting a lot of help getting my CV up to scratch, making sure it was sort of in the same language as the IT rather than sort of the catering language and things like that, and making sure that I was highlighting my IT career and transferable skills rather than maybe showcasing what experience in total that I had, because obviously going to a new industry, emphasis was sort of really put on, like, don't show all your experience, because that's not going to be of any interest to anybody, but just showcase your transferable skills and your interest within the IT industry, and really just try and put yourself in the best light that you can, to make it appealing to people. And to my employer now, it was half my IT experience and half my transferable skills that actually really appealed to them, because I now do 2 roles within the business. One is on the IT help desk, and the other is doing the purchasing for all the tech.
Actually, this is an interesting area that I'd like to discuss further. So, you know, what your title is IT support engineer, correct?
Yeah, second line IT support. Yeah.
Okay, so what? Yeah, so what's your day-to-day job? What does that look like?
Day-to-day job. It's well, we work 3 days at home out the 5, and 2 days in the office now, and that's going to be how it is moving forward. We've actually given half of their premises back to the landlord, and we'll, Yeah, no, my day starts at 9:30. We'll sort of log on, go through any tickets that are outstanding from the previous day, and they're all vary from sort of, you know, simple password resets on Active Directory to maybe setting up a computer remotely for corporate users, that kind of thing. Yeah, sort of troubleshooting VPNs. That is a lot of our business at the moment because everyone's still working from home and forever having issues with VPN. And firewalls, obviously, you know, that is a real mix of what we do. And then I'll spend about 3 hours out of my day doing the purchasing and making sure orders are being delivered to site for various installs and stuff like that. Yeah, we will have to take turns in answering the phone and putting the tickets through, as well as fixing people's problems as well.
In terms of managing and fixing VPNs, is that something that you've learned on the job or part of the training? Has that taught you the knowledge needed?
Sorry, what was that? I think.
So in terms of, say, fixing VPN issues, is that something that you've learned on your job, or was it something that the training actually gave you the knowledge?
The training gave us a background knowledge, you know, of loosely how they work. I mean, there's so many different firewalls and makes and stuff like that out there. I've kind of got used to the sort of the make that we push, that we're a partner with a company called WatchGuard. So we deal with just mainly WatchGuard VPNs and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of that has been on the job training, learning how that particular firewall works, and how it's configured and the interface and things like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount that I've learned more on the networking, regarding sort of the VPN side of things. Now I'm on that rather than the A+. A+ is more of I found a more of a general sort of dip your toe in the water kind of view of the IT industry and basic troubleshooting.
So what, in terms of career progression now, Adrian, so you're still studying, is there a particular area that you would like to move into, or cyber, or?
I was originally sort of heading towards the cyber security route, but I sort of decided, like the last sort of couple of weeks, just to keep along the networking route for now. I'm going to move on to the Cloud Plus. We deal in the business I'm in at the moment. We deal with a lot of cloud migration, and a lot of customers are now moving to the cloud. So I feel, for me right now, the best sort of training I can put myself into is for the cloud environment, because we mainly deal with small businesses rather than the larger businesses. So the versatility of sort of cloud implementations are a lot more versatile for them.
We'll discuss with Kieran about the opportunities in cloud, but it's absolutely, you know, booming at the moment. Yeah. So and I'm just conscious of the time, Adrian. Just got a couple more questions. So everyone on this session is probably looking at moving into a career in IT, or upskilling and progressing. What advice would you give from everything that you've learned to anyone looking at giving us a call or entering a career in IT?
I would say do as much learning as you can. Listen to career services as much as you can. Take on board what they're saying. They're there. They know what they're talking about. They know the industry. They know how to present you, and they will work as hard as you will work to get you your job. And you'll only get out what you put into it. There's no one there that's gonna land you your job. You've got to put the work in. You've got to be committed. And if you're not, then that's your own fault. But they'll be there to support you and to push you as hard as you want to be pushed.
It's sound advice, Adrian. And then, would you say it's been worth the investment?
Yes, no, definitely. I mean, I've given myself an opportunity to a completely new career. I wouldn't say quite late on, but further on in life than some others may be. I don't think if COVID had come about, I would have had the guts to do that. But it kind of presented itself as that you've got to do something, or you're going to be sort of jobless. Then you've got to do something and choose something and get on with it. And quite honestly, I'm probably happier doing this job than I was previously.
That's extremely powerful, isn't it? Massive. If you're happier at the end of it. We had a seminar last week with in New Zealand. We have homes in Australia and New Zealand, and he was a pilot for Virgin Atlantic, and COVID hit, and he's transitioned and is now a cybersecurity analyst and a similar age. So we've got a question to talk about age and transitioning into career, but that should never be a barrier. And it's quite a common question from people. Adrian, I really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much, and best of luck with the studies. I know we're going to speak to you again about the career pathways and maybe network and cloud. And congratulations on landing your job.
No, well, thank you for inviting me to have a chat with you guys, and I wish everyone the best of luck, and hope you all get your dream careers.
Thanks, Adrian. I'll reach out afterwards so we can have a chat about your next steps.
Brilliant. Look forward to that. Okay. Bye. Cheers, Kieran.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
Should we go through who learning people actually are now?
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
let's do that.
We'll start. I mean, it's so inspiring, isn't it, to hear those stories. So I'm John. I'm head of marketing. It was my eighth birthday last week, actually. We're 12 years old. We've got homes in Brighton, in Dublin, in New Zealand, in Australia, and we're venturing into other territories as well. We've got over 35,000 students worldwide, and we specialise in offering careers in the tech world. So particularly cybersecurity, networking, all of the kind of IT certifications. And I think what we should do is say hello to Robin, but first, Kieran heads up the IT team.
Yes, so I am imminently going to be celebrating my first birthday with Learning People. I head up the IT, the cyber and the cloud teams, which then also encompasses networking, which is where Adrian is currently studying, having done his A+.
And Robin is over in Dublin.
Hello, how are you? I had my first birthday with Learning People last August. So a little bit ahead of you, Kieran, but not too much more ahead. So I'm based in the Dublin office. My background, just to give you guys an idea, so I sort of specialise in employability and have done the last 7 years, including some tech recruitment in Dublin before I joined Learning People. So it gives me a good bit of industry knowledge when helping you guys try and make that career change. And essentially what we do as career services, our main aims is to support students, to help them to become job ready, to navigate the job market and navigate a career change if applicable. So to do that, we've designed a 3-phase process that we guide students through. Phase 1, it's all about building the professional brand, right? And understanding how to present yourself as a credible IT candidate, but also in line with the market's requirements of your desired role. Right? Because that is the key difference of getting noticed in the job market. And we know that that's half the battle sometimes. So to do this, we give you a collection of guides in phase 1. You've got a research guide, so you know how to research and find out what roles are available to you, but also what interests you, and get an understanding of what elements of that you need to present in your CV and LinkedIn to get noticed. Then you've got the CV guide, a LinkedIn guide, and a cover letter guide. So you'll start this process after achieving your first certification. So I can appreciate for some of you guys, it's quite daunting going, how am I going to get a career in IT? How would I even make an IT CV? But the thing about it is you will have a good amount of knowledge under your belt. You'll have done the same amount of certifications that Adrian has done before you're in the stage of updating that CV and making it IT focused. So it shouldn't need to be as daunting as you might think it will be. So we'll do a consultation process and we'll go back and forth, and I'll basically let you guys know what you need to do to make that CV and LinkedIn industry focused. And we'll go back and forth till that standard is achieved. will not be allowed to go to market with a subpar CV or LinkedIn profile. We'll then move on into phase 2, which is all about networking, job applications, and your approach to the job market. And by networking, I mean like people networking in this sense, right? Connecting with industry professionals. Because I'm sure some of you have been in the experience where you're just applying for jobs, and you're hearing nothing back. It's an incredibly soul-destroying type of a process. Reason for that is likely due to the fact that these job boards only represent 30% of available opportunities. So that tells us if you're just applying for jobs online, it's almost guaranteed to take you longer. So what we do at phase 2 is we help students to create a structured and targeted plan where you're balancing multiple methods of application. That's what gives you the stronger probability of getting that positive result. And we review and tailor that plan to your needs over a 2 to 3 week period. Phase 3 is the final phase. It's all about interviews. So we do really intensive interview prep calls. We can do mock interviews. As I have tech recruitment experience, I understand those kind of technical challenges that you'll come up against in these interviews, be able to guide you through them. We'll help you and support you through the job offer process, and the support, you've got tailored and impartial support on anything that falls under a careers umbrella, and all that support's available till you start your new role. And that's kind of us in a nutshell for our career services.
And something that I constantly get feedback on when we're speaking to existing students is that, and something Adrian touched on, is that no matter where you are in your life's journey, you really can completely change your career, whether you're in your early stages of your 20s or even so far as your late stage of your 50s. We've had people go from no IT experience to then getting their first role within 6 months, and then progressing further and further and further, to which we send out testimonials of these students on a daily and hourly basis. And something Jono mentioned was investment. And did Adrian feel like it was a worthwhile investment for him? And something that a student told me almost in my first week was, if I told me to invest 4, 5, even £1,000 into a business that would then return between 25 to 40,000 every year, wouldn't you do that? Well, isn't that what you're going to be doing with a job? And investing it in yourself rather than a business that you don't know. And that has stuck with me for my 11 months. And I'm going to continue using that throughout my journey with learning people from that student who's now doing incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Why do people get in contact with us? People want to learn new skills. They want to land a dream job, and ultimately want to increase your salary, don't you?
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
And we're all about student outcomes. And just following on from what Robin said, obviously we're partnered with the biggest accreditors in the world, so we can bundle up the best courses to build career pathways so you're job ready, and these are all endorsed by industry. But on the side of that, soft skills are becoming even more important with employers. So we focus heavily on building your soft skills whilst you're doing your training as well. And we've partnered with Tech UK, which are the biggest recruiter network in the UK. So all of our students have access to those recruiters as well, which is it's a pretty big deal. I think the guys have sent in lots of questions. So let's start by answering some of those. The first one comes from Lawrence, who says, does the online course offer practical training? How can I use it to improve my practical skills in IT?
So yes, it does offer practical training, and the first part of that question. And it does this through something called live labs, which is then actually referenceable on your CV as live experience. So what these are lots of scenario based, it's almost like a video game that you're going through, and you have objectives to meet, such as installing Windows remotely and setting up and defending a network, things like that. And again, once you've logged these as hours, by the time you've gone through your full training, if you're doing one of the bundles that John was talking about, you will have between 70 to 100 hours worth of live labs on your CV. So you're already 2 or more weeks into the role. So what do you think is going to be better? Someone who has done the certificates themselves through maybe YouTube videos or through books, or someone who has then got these referenceable skills that they can actually put on their CV and download from the training platform to provide as evidence during their interview. So that's kind of where I would say for that one.
No, let's, I don't know if Robin's dropped off, but we were just discussing with Adrian about the age barrier, and Gift has asked the question on over 40 years old, can I still change careers and move into IT?
So actually, we see this happen more and more, is that people want to change their career later in life and they want a new or fresh challenge. And as you said, John, the soft skills are now so important from people that you've learned during your 20s and 30s, for example, and bringing that to a table is going to be so important for a recruiter. I mean, typically you've got the stereotype of an IT person who maybe sat in a dark room with dirty jeans on and a headset, me on the weekend maybe. But really nowadays it is just anybody who's working in IT, absolutely anyone, and that has been a real transition we've seen over the last 5 or 10 years.
And I think as well, in terms of age barrier, if you know your stuff, you know the theory, you've got the knowledge, it doesn't matter what age you are, there's still a 0% unemployment rate in cybersecurity, right? They're crying out for professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Robin's waving. We're just talking about age barriers, and it shouldn't matter.
Right. No, not at all. Not at all. Absolutely not. Gone are the days, I think, of those kind of discrimination, because look, we're working for an awful lot longer than people used to in the reality of it, but also particularly for careers in IT, right? Huge element of it is problem solving. And in order to be able to effectively problem solve, you've got to have a variety of a background to give you a varied perspective to be able to approach these problems differently. And plus, there's such more of an appreciation for diversity within teams these days, as opposed that there was previously, let's say maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And diversity is much more sort of appreciated. So no, it definitely should not let age be seen as a barrier, because what I find with people, they tend to project that they project that fear of that their age being a barrier or an issue. So if you're looking for signs of something, you'll find it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, we've got a question here from Kiriaki. What sort of salary will you start on, and how quickly can you progress in the IT industry?
So Kieran actually kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. So look, it's going to be, one thing we always say is that this is going to be different for everybody in different locations, right? But what I will say as an average kind of a thing, you'd be starting in or around the 20s. And you see, even if you just look at job postings of let's say IT support with 2 years experience, it comes in around the 40 to 45 mark, right? So what an incredible jump. I certainly did not see a 20 grand increase in my first 2 years of employment. I'm sure you guys could probably say the same.
I wish.
I wish. I'm not sure I've still even the 20 grand increase, because all of us outside of the IT industry, we don't have that same acceleration of salary. The IT industry, because of the demand, is allowed to have that sort of acceleration of salary, whereas other industries won't be able to justify it.
It was interesting as well. I was just saying, a student in New Zealand, Kip, who worked for Virgin Atlantic and then transitioned as a cybersecurity analyst because of COVID. He was forced to find work, and he's on a bigger salary than he was as a pilot. Wow! And
wow!
Yeah. So the salaries are there, and that's within several months of enrolling with us. Michael's asked, what is the best course to start with for a beginner? Do I need previous knowledge or experience?
I'll take that as a complete beginner to IT rather than in a specific area, because we do have multiple courses that are at a foundation level, but the most popular one that is going to be the most recognized within the industry is the CompTIA A+. And that teaches you the software and the hardware side of IT service support, which is what Adrian's doing at the moment. So setting up Windows remotely, changing people's passwords. We've all been there. And the general setup of your laptop or repair of your laptop, for example, some of you may not know, around your screen is actually where the antenna sits for your laptop. It will teach you things like that, so you'll be able to repair it. You do not need any previous knowledge or experience, just the ability to turn one on. And I think, as Adrian referenced, the best, you need to have the self-determination to want to get through these courses and change your life, because I think that is where I certainly see the best candidates are ones that are all in and they're doing extra learning on top. Even if it's on the weekends, they're just dabbling on different websites, or they're even asking me for additional homework they can be doing that I can then give them tasks and activities to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was really powerful as well at the end when Adrian said that he's happier.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that.
It really resonates. Right, I think we'll leave it there because it's a nice half-an-hour session. Get in contact with us if you're not speaking to career consultants already. I'm sure you've got loads of questions, and we can discuss those, demystify all of the opportunities that there are in IT, and there are many. We'll send this recording out as well. But yeah, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to speaking with you very soon. So we'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.